Thank you, Janey. Jimmy, I love that. My new book is called Even Though I Don't Miss You. It's coming out from Short Flight, Long Drive. I'm going to read from it. I became aroused while I was in the shower, and I started fantasizing how I might seduce you once I was finished with my shower. I imagined jumping onto you from behind and wrapping my limbs around you. But in my fantasy, I sort of hurt you by jumping onto you. And you had also been holding a bowl of cereal that I hadn't imagined until after I imagined jumping on you. And I made the cereal spill all over the floor, and you seemed so tired and looked at me and sarcastically asked if I was trying to seduce you. And then you made me clean up the cereal. By the time my fantasy was over and I left the bathroom, I was noticeably irritated. You said, "You seem in a weird mood." I said, "You always say something like that when it's actually you who's in the weird mood. And you don't want to take responsibility for your own weird mood because you don't want to take the time to analyze your own feelings in life." And you said, "What's going on?" And I couldn't say I'm really mad and hurt and confused over this hypothetical melodrama I just went through while I was in the bathroom. So I just said, "What the fuck?" And you said, "What the fuck?" And I said, "It's an interesting question." Now whenever someone asks me something about you, I say, "I don't know, I don't remember," without even listening to the question. I've never meant I love you so much as when I tried to say it to you by using words like resolve and supposedly, or when I tried to say it by using a metaphor about waking up with someone else's Band-Aid on. This poem is about death and to some extent life. I'm drinking wine because I'm trying not to drink anymore. Drinking wine is the closest thing to not drinking that I can manage right now. Is it overbearing of me to text you more than once per year asking if I still have the correct phone number? If you don't respond, what is the maximum number of follow-up texts I can send within the month? Does this number change if I email instead of text? What if in the emails I mention that I have a bad feeling about the state of your health because I haven't heard from you? What is the maximum number of times I can contact you per year, confirming your contact information? I'm just asking. When I texted you about my party, you texted back, "Who is this?" And I didn't respond, and you didn't come to my party. Of course, it was bound to happen this way. In terms of the sequence of my life and the habits I have as a human, anyone could have predicted that I would feel this way, and you would not know I feel this way. And given that I was once a little girl who felt it was important to pretend to like rice cakes, I was basically designed to internalize my feelings until they became obsessions, and the obsessions became part of who I was, like a freckle or tumor. And you were bound to be in my dreams almost every night. Everyone should have expected that. And those dreams were going to affect my perception of you, and there should never have been any question that my image of you would warp in my mind and you would become, to me, someone only vaguely resembling the person you used to be. And this fact alone was going to greatly influence my perception of the world. And of course you weren't going to come to my party, and I was going to pretend to enjoy my party and spend the whole night pretending not to watch the door. I'm taking screenshots of the image on photo booth instead of clicking the take photo button. There are pizza rolls in the freezer, and I barely considered heating them up. Guess I just feel really brave. You said, "You have a curly Q in your pubic hair." I said, "Oh." You said, "Does that offend you?" And I said, "No, I'm flattered." Yesterday I saw a girl walking down the street, tears streaming down her entirely unexpressive face, mouth open, while emitting no noise, and neglecting to wipe the tears from her face and neck. So now I know for sure I'm not the only person who does that. I bought you a pair of shoes once. I never told you this, but there was some problem with the shoe selection when I bought them. They didn't have the color I wanted, or I had to go to several stores to find the right size. I remember crying. But then you thanked me too much for the shoes. It was annoying. You woke from your nap while I was still watching you. You swore that you would want to make out with me if you didn't happen to be so physically ill. At the time, I thought it was one of the nicest things anyone had ever said to me. Looking back, I think you're just trying to get me to give you my Pepto-Bismol. You said, what was it again that derailed your confidence the other day? I can't remember. I said, conspiracy theory about aliens. And you said, oh, that's right. I've been meaning to ask, what is your personal definition of the term heat conductivity? You told me not to worry, but I wasn't feeling worried. I thought maybe there was something I could be worried about. I tried not to worry about figuring out what it was that I could but should not be worried about. I tried to comfort myself by thinking about the things I knew I could be worried about, each of which I was certain you weren't referring to when you told me not to be worried, and I told myself not to worry about them. You pointed to my backpack and asked if it was a backpack. I tried to say something to you about my feelings. I was looking for some kind of warmth, a kind of connection to indicate that I was experiencing the same world that everyone else was experiencing. I tried to indirectly express this, but you said, stop talking about heat conductivity, Chelsea. No one cares. I don't even think you care. And you disconnected from chat. There's a piece of clothing thrown on the floor in the shape of what I look like to myself. Thank you.